Yo, you apparently
I went
you're
from
junk
like
main,
no
right?
medals to gold.
Cool.
And so it's like the shitty one. No
We're
one
on
gives a fuck about.
Volskaya.
It's the one everyone cares about.
Traveling to Volskaya Industries.
You're a real pal, bud. Just want to let you know. Oh, this is too base to work.
Alright, let's get a little too far ahead.
Okay.
Or
Right
can
on
you-
top.
Alright. So, let's discuss team comps here in a second. Epic Pan, where are you? Right. Epic Pan. So we have a team comp here that's very adept at holding the choke, particularly here. What you see from most Orissa's and Reinhardt compositions is that instead of holding at the choke, we tend to hold like here, in that it can't be rushed as easily because this distance is kind of large. You have a nice retreat path naturally back to point. If you want to, you got the minis here, and you got the mega further back here. By holding up here, they can like speed up on this side and then come at you. Additionally, like in the case where like someone comes like this far flank, like a tracer can, you have to turn further to see them. You know, holding a choke, people do it though, especially in lower elos. You also have to, by playing so far up, your shield is never oriented to take Pharah space here, and this window here is also kind of rough for you. So if they don't utilize this window, they don't utilize the back, and they don't come over the top here with like a Pharah, then I can see holding at the choke working. The issue is mainly that Symmetra. This isn't a great Symmetra map because people are already kind of incentivized by your comp and where you're holding to go Pharah, and suddenly Symmetra doesn't do anything. She's also not great against dive, which holding at the choke also sort of permits. If you're holding this far close, they have less of a distance to close with their abilities before they're on top of you with their dive composition. And Symmetra is no good for that. So like, as Symmetra, at higher levels, you're basically looking to aggressively trade with their backline supports to drop on them from unsuspecting places and just trade your life for a more valuable support while like your shield gen is active and your defenses are in place. Depending on the enemy team's level of aim, you're quite hard to hit and composition. So yeah, these guys are going to hold at the choke and then kill anyone who comes near and maybe set up teleporter. I find it a little weird that Symmetra's taking a DPS slot. When generally you want her to take a support slot just so you have enough damage, but you probably have a decent amount of damage anyway. Zenyatta, if you're running three supports, quote unquote, then like Zenyatta is almost necessary. Now let's get to the attack here. This is super weird. We have a dive tank. We have dive supports, right? And we have a dive DPS, but we don't have her normal mercy pocket, meaning that Discord and Soldier can get a lot of value at keeping her at bay, because then the orb has to go on her in order for anything to happen. Unfortunately, the orb also pretty much needs to stay on the Winston against this comp. Then we have Roadhog, who doesn't dive at all, and is more looking to like brawl it out immediately, maybe get a pick or two, and break a shield. And then we have Mei, who neither dives nor shield fights. So I don't know. What this team can do, though, is isolate someone with a wall. So if you're set up here and you have, like, your Orisa, you have your Sim, You have your Zen here. You have your Hog here, maybe. You have your... Who's this? Mercy? Mercy. That's not an M. That's closer to an M. And then, like, I don't know, Soldier back here. Just a rough point. She can, like, wall here, cut off the back half of the team, and then rush this, which kind of works, but then you're thinking, well, if we're doing that, if that's the plan with May, then why aren't we just taking Reinhardt and like Junkrat and just doing basically the same thing? But I'm kind of curious how this plays out. Moving into second point, who do we try to keep on? Well, the Zen and Lucio are fine so long as we're going dive heavy. Both teams have a defensive ultimate. We're probably dropping the Symmetra for second point, right? And based upon the high ground for second point, May's Blizzard isn't as effective, and that's kind of the real reason why you pick her. Her walls are also not effective because a lot of people are on high ground, so you can't really split the team because they're already as split as they're going to be. Farah can do some work, I guess. Hog maybe can get some picks. So let's see how this plays out.
Okay, call targets, so May knows who to freeze.
See how we play this. So we're setting up here, and we have turrets set up here, at least to start. I don't see any others. So if they ever do rush us, they're going to eat Sim Blasts. Okay, that's fine. A team with Diva can come this way relatively easily, which means your Symmetra is not as effective.
Although I guess we should freeze
See
someone
how
and
that
escort someone
goes.
else.
They got a sim.
Yeah, this is not going to work.
Alright, Rob. This is your...
Alright, so we walled, but we walled them to prevent them from spamming into us. Okay, I don't know if that was misplaced or not. We would have liked to have trapped the Orisa and then rushed her.
your time to counter.
We're going left.
Here's the sim in here. This sim's positioning is kind of fucking awful. She should die. So like her entire team's set up with this sort of conclave to control like this space, right? Good on her team to like push up into them right now as they rotate, because they don't have the strongest rotation, the strongest coordination on the rotation, and the May's not there, but like Symmetra's right here. Turns out where they were going to rotate, Symmetra is still setting up. You do have a shitty hitbox to try to hit, but you are only 200 HP and you don't have any escape. So even if they like die 2 or 3 here, like Sim's not getting back before their team regroups unless you use the res, which I guess is your plan.
Oh god, there's so many
Yeah, the Winston's
turrets in
killing
here.
everything.
Watch a hog.
This fight is lasting too long
Hog.
for
Hog,
res.
hog, 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 hog.
Hog.
Script.
Why?
So earlier I was like, okay, good on the tanks for trying to save them, but like you linger so long here that like your soldier's not helping. Your soldier can't help fire on people inside this room, and the tanks are going inside this room. So suddenly what could have been an interesting like sort of collapse turns into tanks in front of 6 or 5 really, because the Far is still out here, I think, for some reason. The Far has yet to contribute.
Why is this working?
The May
Which
is
way we
doing
going?
May
Follow
things.
me. Left side, left
Follow me, May
Out.
leads.
Follow May. That's
Follow
the
May.
side.
Upstairs.
Alright, so the soldier comes out to duel the Farah. That could be a way back in the fight, just to even it up. Sometimes if you get early picks, the only way you're ever going to turn the fight back in your favor is to take a risky flank play to try to even it up. So if they take your DPS, you have to take one of their DPS to keep it safe. But like, I'm a little worried that he'll get this pick, but the fight is already sort of devolved on this side. Where the soldier will return to the fight, and there will be no fight left for him.
Upstairs. Let's go.
Point, point,
Okay,
point, point, point.
Water's gone.
Alright, so let's look at this positioning. Zenyatta's in good positioning. If he stays at high ground, that'd be fantastic. May is in a decent position to just wall here. So they kill everyone here. This is the Zenyatta. He is out of position. I would have liked to have seen him either over here with the Mercy, or mirroring kind of the soldier. Like ideally, if the soldier hadn't gone this way, the soldier's setting up on this box here, overlooking point. In which case the Zenyatta would be fantastic to sit up there. I would like to see the Zenyatta there even without the soldier, and instead have like the Mercy play back here by the Orisa. So if instead the Mercy, so here's your shield. If the Mercy's here, and the Zen is here, then the Mercy flies in here, and when the Zen eventually gets jumped by the Winston, or Orisa gets, or this situation becomes too hot for Mercy, she can just retreat to the Zen. Right now, Mercy is not affecting this fight. And if she comes in, she has nowhere to retreat to. And that's a failure of you guys setting up your defense. It's particularly the Zen positioning, because I mean, I kind of understand why the soldier went this way, to try to even the fight. The soldier swinging this way is going to make it difficult for him to influence things as well. Because he's going to want to shoot, like, soldier, or he's going to want to shoot this hog on point, and in doing so he has to come this way, which puts him in line of fire of this excellently positioned Zenyatta, and it has to get him close to the hog. Ugh. And our Symmetra should be walking back now.
Zen.
Zen's a good target. We get him.
Nice.
See how he has to, like, our soldier went over here and then took himself out of the fight. Our soldier has yet to return. Unfortunately, our Zen has dropped. Assume that's laziness. He can play this corner just fine. I like this soldier's decision to take high ground, but his team has to realize that he is effectively still not in the fight.
Down.
I'm on a Mercy.
Orisa Discord.
Yep, they just ignore him and just get to the healer.
Come on, Orisa.
Mercy 1,
Mercy
Mercy 1, Mercy
1.
1.
Mercy has no retreat path except further into the fight. That's not great. Now Soldier is in this awkward position of, like, he's finally found good positioning to overlook the fight, but the fight is lost, which is kind of my concern when he went for the Pharah.
Soldier
Got her.
high ground. Got me.
Orisa, one.
Got her.
Okay,
Soldier's up.
now he has two options. Probably the best option is to, let's see. You lost the opening fight convincingly. It seems like you're still staying on Symmetra. I guess that's her here. Your two options are either to die on point or to suicide, so you respawn with your team and not get staggered. You're already going to be down ult economy. I don't know if another 200 here is worth the time to stall. I think it's going to depend on what this person wants to do. Whoever this is, I'm pretty sure it's Symmetra. If Symmetra is switching, like, Symmetra needs to retreat or die or both. I think you die on point to give the Symmetra maximal time to not be here. Whether that's because she's jumping off the cliff to reset and to switch heroes, or it's to get back and set up defenses. I think you have to stall on
I
point.
can't say got him. I'm set.
Here she comes in. Here's the Winston to force the issue. I don't know what this is doing. Like, okay. So, like, you should be able to see, well, this shield and this orb as Mei. Taking high ground as Mei is kind of weird when it seems like they're recontesting here. I don't know why they're recontesting. They're going to fight a staggered fight against 4, maybe 5 people, because now the Pharah is back. The Mei is taking herself out of the fight.
So seems like Sim.
Soldier is just getting staggered further, but he's built his visor at least.
Is maybe coming to point, or is she just being cheeky? Yeah, they're just being cheeky.
Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the other person? Who am I missing here? Who the fuck am I missing here?
Nice.
Boat, grape. Is the Pharah here? No, the Pharah's here. GSO. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let the Zen go.
Fast May, boys!
Hey, comp.
Wait for me.
Take it to comp.
Alright, so something happened.
Oh, I'm
Maybe
always
it's
late
6
to the
day.
party.
I don't know where the Zen is.
Alright, we just going straight on? What are we doing?
Alright. Yeah, what are you doing? Alright, so we ended up switching the Mercy to Ana. That can work. The long sight lines on this map are pretty cool. The Symmetra has the issue where like they still have the Winston and they still have the Pharah, so like she's not going to be getting a ton of value at all. What I'd like to see from this team. That's interesting. So how are they going to attack this? Well, Maywalls needs to get value, right? Shouldn't be too hard. We seem to be getting a hook on, which is another way to get value. We're still not out with our main tank for some reason. This failure to like select an Orisa when we had Orisa first point means we're actually down a person for no particularly good reason. I'd probably start with setting up Zen on the high ground, either here or here for the attacking team. You can use Lucio's speed to actually get him to here if you really want to. You don't need to amp. I think he can make the jump with just speed, but I'm not exactly sure on that one. Meanwhile, the Pharah still has the issue of trying to find value and needing heals. So she has to play cautiously, but like this Zen is not really in a great position. Monkey and Directs kind of hit him. I would like to see him high ground or with the soldier here on this high ground. Just a safer place than on point. Just leave it to the tanks. So I'm not really sure how this comp is supposed to really attack the point. Other than maybe a nice Maywall split or Winston gets a good jump on a juicy target who is mispositioned. As for this defense, there are so many ways in and out of here that like Symmetra seems awkward still. Ana has great sidelines, Zen has great sightlines. Hog, once they commit, seems fine. You don't have the Junkrat or second high damage DPS that makes this really anti-dive. And Soldier's fine here. Soldier's good here. So I don't know how this is going to play out. He gets hooked. To prevent his team from saving him, we can Maywall immediately behind him.
Hug.
Or we could freeze him. He should die anyway. GS Omega takes a huge ante to the face. Fantastic focus. He could have reacted to that. He could have walled. He could have gone into ice block. He fails to do anything.
Pushing him down.
Oh, that's
Down.
Alright, so...
we're gone.
Zen.
Okay.
I
So we
think
can
that's
get a good camera angle of this. So your May dies when you could have gotten the pick on their Hog. So we for some reason use whole Hog in response. That doesn't make any sense. The fight's already won by blue team. Even if everyone trades from here on out, there's left with one defender left. Right? Even if they lose the 6v5, there's like 1 or 2 on point maybe, and then the spawns start coming in. So like this fight is already over. Bearing a large ultimate discrepancy. But Whole Hog is not that ultimate. No. Whole Hog will not turn this fight in any measured sense. So I disagree that we needed to Whole Hog. I also disagree that we wanted to Visor for the same reasons. Like, I think this fight is already pretty much won by you as the defender. Even if Whole Hog gets like 2 people, this comp doesn't do like a shit ton of damage. You're probably going to kill Hog inside of his ultimate, and Pharah is useless because she has no health. Like, I don't think the Visor does anything here. One thing I will say is that you like never want to fortify against Hog ultimate. That thing does so much damage. Hog ultimate, let's check. Can I
Back out.
Yeah, I do think we back out. Road Hog. Overwatch. Let's check this. Whole Hog. Whole Hog does 5,000 damage. The only drawback is that it sends people flying and it's across your entire screen. So when you're... I'm good, thanks. So when you're firing Whole Hog, your cursor's here and it's firing like an arc like this, you know, across your screen. And it's pushing people away, so it's hard to get the full 5,000 damage on someone. Well, guess what? If Orisa fortifies right in front of you, she's not going anywhere, and she's very easy to track in the middle of your fucking screen. So try not to fortify against it. Hog's gonna die here.
I don't know about that.
And everyone's dead.
Oh!
What they blow there?
Far struggling
Attack.
to do anything.
What did we blow? They
blew
blew
tech.
visor.
I blew Hog.
Alright.
Right. So you may be like, hey, Matt, that's not so bad. We used one ultimate. They used one ultimate. That's even. Well, yes, but the problem is an unpowered fight favors the defenders because there's less kill potential into play. So like, if it's 6 ults versus 6 ults, you can force the defenders to use ults and then come in with an ult advantage. If no one has ultimates, it's hard to wipe the defending team quickly and concisely so that everyone is alive on your team, the defenders are all dead, and then they have to start trickling in spawns. And that's why 2CP is more about like coordination and ult usage, specifically for the second point, than a lot of other maps. Second point has to be a clean fight win, or they're just going to stagger and then
Should
eventually
Should we switch
retake
up
the
comp
point.
now? I mean,
Back up.
Yeah, good for them pushing
this
up
is a
here.
good situation for me to switch.
They got
Oh,
Soldier McCree, so
I do agree, it's a good
I'll switch as
situation for you
well.
to switch. Yeah, the Fire's not going to do anything here without a pocket. If they're running double hit scan, Ana Zen. Honestly, this is a great comp to run dive into. These characters will be left on the ground for the most part. And then you have 3 people, 4 people on the high ground, if they're positioned correctly, who get separated by Winston Bubble and get separated by Diva Matrix. And yeah, that's like ideal. That's why most people don't run double hit scan, because Diva Winston shut it down so heavily.
Yeah, I would definitely switch for you. That's for sure.
I have ult,
Um,
so I'm staying.
Divanek?
Pass. Yeah.
Diva Nick.
Alright, we're here.
Alright.
Rob, what's your ult? 87? Alright. We'll give it a
I'm
push
switching to
with your
Diva
ult.
and coming.
Alright, so he's still way back there. We're kind of pushed up. We're setting up here. Okay, so you should see now that they have a soldier switch. The soldier and Zenyatta, I don't necessarily hate this. I will say what this positioning is weak to is people taking this elevator to take the high ground. You're automatically forced back from there. And when you place that shield, you won't have the cooldown in case they jump it. So you have to be a little careful here with the shield
Oh,
placement.
thanks for the walk up.
Yes,
Bo.
I've been taxing everybody, trying to speed it up.
Yeah, there's too much delay here between the end, what would have been the end of the fight, and the start of this next push, because things weren't readily decided ahead of time.
As he pops out. Whoosh!
Right.
Oh, did I not?
So what I want to see is, now that we're running a Soldier Zen, stay high ground. Up here, Winston Diva coordinate a dive somewhere. Mei still doesn't really follow in, but she can at least wall herself to high ground, and Boat plays it by ear, I guess. Targets should be 1, 2, 3 for the most part. Soldier, if he's positioned well, is hard to dive, especially if he can just sprint away, but the others should just
I'm
kind of
sorry,
dive.
you have boost.
I know, it's fine.
Alright.
Alright, we're a little split here. We're not
Alright.
taking high ground, it seems. we're not committing to like where we want to go. We just kind of walked in, which seems okay. It's not the worst. We see this wonderful Ana sightline onto the Orisa, making her difficult to kill. We see a lot of damage early coming in on both the Mei and the Winston. We're close to like 4 ultimates over here, which is pretty good. I don't know if we jumped here, but we need to be careful here as the attacking team. We're taking a lot of damage on approach, and we're not actually on point yet. Alright, so we put bubble down, that seems fine. Boost into him, not great. This Zenyatta is still diveable, by the tanks at least. Like, this hog positioning, it's relatively safe, but it's not actually assisting the Orisa against the dive. He's also line of sighting his Ana, I believe. I don't think Ana can get this way. It would require Zenyatta or Ana to be here in order to help him out. So I think his positioning, while not bad in the context of we're setting up here and he has a retreat path, he's kind of playing solo. And if he's not careful, that can punish him. Against a Mei, playing this like I would have loved to see a Mei wall behind the Orisa. Would have loved to see a Mei wall to cut him off here and force him this way and freeze him as he does. But we're not seeing that, so I don't think we're not really using Mei for any particular reason. Still Zen is on the low ground, and if that's recognized by the Winston Diva pair, that's a problem for him.
Hog breather down.
Oh, mech down. Fuck.
So we okay. So Winston reinitiates his fight. Unfortunately, his Diva doesn't have mech, he doesn't have bubble, and now he doesn't have jump. And so he's in the middle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm missing someone. I think we just switched to Junkrat. So let's just say those 5, and then the Junkrat will be here shortly to make it worse. He has ultimate, thank God. But he's going to be discorded, and then he can easily be focused down because the rest of his team is still not on point. Nearest team members like 20 meters. His heals are so far away. He has no damage follow-up at all. They're running like basically a main tank, 2 off tanks, and a DPS. Where is Chaos? Chaos is here? Yeah. He's going to be forced to pop ult, and then when he does that, he can be continually focused down by this high damage here, and he can feed a lot of ult charge in a very short amount of time. Let's see, Soldier starting at 41.
That's not good.
One Zen. Oh shit, I popped.
Yeah, he just popped. Alright, never mind. He didn't get the chance to ultimate. This ult here is also not great. We already lost Diva Mech, so we don't really want to commit too much to this fight anyway. Unfortunately, our Winston died, and like, even if you kill these on points, of which you might kill 2 of them, the Ana Soldier around here on like this high ground setup is the real problem, right?
Zen discorded.
So you're going to take a lot of damage.
Frozen?
Discord.
So see how we traded?
Down.
Good.
Fuck, I'm down. Alright, back up.
So the fight's already lost.
That's
That stall's not helping him. In fact, him running isn't helping him either. He needs to kind of jump off.
we're down 4.
Thankfully, Soldier didn't get much ult charge from that.
We all just kind of got killed by Junkrat in the same spot.
Alright, let's look at ult economy real quick. We used Mei. We have no offensive ultimates here from this side anymore. We have 3 ultimates, which are great for keeping us alive, either as a team or individually, should it ever come down to that. This team is stacked with ultimates. I wouldn't be surprised with the way these tanks are playing desynced that Soldier builds Visor in this amount of time. It's honestly not too close. Tire could also be built. So we're looking at a possible of 5 ultimates to 3. Rationing these should be very, very easy. I think what we do is look for Nano Visor once it's built, or Nano Whole Hog, and then we can Bongo Bongo Visor once that's up. The fight after this one, saving Trance pretty much for whether he's under extreme pressure, or this visor goes off. Or stall. So like when you're using Transcendence, often you'll have an ultimate in mind which will just like trigger you using it. You're like, oh, they're using visor, oh, they're using blade. I'm gonna trance this. Cool. However, you do need to use it in the event that you're getting overwhelmingly pressured to keep your tanks alive. Sometimes you just die with it, that's fine. But if your tanks are likely to go down without you using it, you're probably better off using it and then telling your team, hey, they're going to visor after this.
Go.
So let's
Yeah,
see
we
what the
gotta
Mei
switch
swaps
that.
to, because right now this comp's
Should I switch off?
this comp is like a Tracer or Genji away from like Soldier Modified Dive, which is a very standard comp. Right now the Winston and Diva don't have any damage to follow them up going high ground, which is okay, but just
Oh,
slow.
right.
Yeah.
Grape, you wanna go something else maybe? DPS? No?
Pass. Who's our second tank?
See how delayed this is? See how much
My
time
ult's only
we're
at
eating up
28.
the clock
Rob?
by discussing
Rob,
this?
you go
Second tank?
Diva.
No one cares about the
You
Diva
go
ult,
DPS.
just swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
Alright.
I still have ult because I haven't seen an opportunity.
Alright, now we're running double hit scan with dive tanks. That's an awkward one. You don't have enough shield break to get around the Orisa, which means you're going to have to utilize high ground as these guys, or a bad Orisa shield and kind of like flank against it. This Orisa shield should go a long way, which preventing double hit scan from doing very much. If you go on too much of a flank, you're going to get bursted out because you're either going to run into like Hog or get halted. And if you try to take high ground in a decent enough, like, in order to get to like this left high ground, you have to go this way first, and they're going to spot you and know it's coming. And you're still not really contesting their high ground
Maybe
except with your
Reaper?
tanks.
I don't know. I feel
I
like
have
we
ult as
need
well.
something to chunk that shield.
We have
Oh.
2 healer ults. We can go in on one and sustain with the other.
There we go.
Yep.
This'll
I see the Junkrat okay, but it's still not playing in conjunction with the tanks.
work.
Yeah, so.
Who's gonna do it?
Probably go in on beat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, beat would make sense.
All right. So
I like the soldier of that was getting up here to begin with. Boat is still way in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who are we missing? Who are we missing? Grape. Grape's not here yet.
All right. We're not all back in.
See how they're all contesting and Grape's still in this courtyard?
That-
Alright, so we're forced to jump out.
Black
That's
as well.
fine. Soldier now is that much closer because of that failed push.
I'm just
Alright,
kind of spamming in. Ready?
Going
No
in.
Matrix.
This is an interesting place to hold. Once again, Zen seems to be on point
Matrix.
once again.
All right. Speed
Alright,
boost.
we're
let's
good.
go. Oh.
Puts down.
Who's this up here? Junkrat? That seems like a fine position. It's a little bit worrisome here, actually, in that. So where are Junkrat's paths of retreat right now? If he gets dove by the double tank, he goes this way, and then he's out of line of sight of healers, and he's in a small room against 2 dive tanks. He's not likely to survive that if Defense Matrix is being used at all. If he falls down, he's still in line of his healers, which is good. But he's not really retreating into his team because his tanks are playing so far up. So he's likely to die through the heals if a bubble or Defense Matrix prevents the Ana from applying those heals. So his best bet if he's dive is just kind of like mine and jump way back to his Ana as far as possible and blow himself backwards. But once again, Defense Matrix can kind of prevent that. So like this seems good, but I also feel like this is pretty diveable. We see Hog on a flank here. We see the Winston going for the Zenyatta, who is still playing low ground and near enough to this fight. So I'm worried for the Zenyatta. I think the Hog positioning is generally decent. He's close enough where like he's deterring people from walking forward, and he's deterring people from getting the Orisa. I am worried though that like the Hog can also kind of be rushed, especially with Discord. Oh, excuse me. Which will force him to breather, which to force probably Nade to come out to save him. He can be isolated. I'm worried about the Hog's positioning, honestly. You can dive this Hog, and he will be forced to use cooldowns.
I'm in Zen.
Zen is good. We went so far deep, though. Now the beat we're coming in with, which we're using, it's unclear if you're going to get this. This is a little aggressive.
Camping? Get in.
He gets it. Cool. Now where are we located? If this shield was a little bit quicker, I think you could have cut off the beat from hitting Winston. Seem to be a collapse here. D-Chaos is in an awkward position. Zenyatta's in an awkward position. Like, Zenyatta can still be followed up on. Just kill him. The Junkrat's gonna have free reign for a bit.
Zen.
Eating? Sorry.
Where did our Diva player go?
Alright, speed.
So I see him jump in to follow, but he doesn't end up on the target.
I'm in Zen.
So Zen jumps in,
Camping?
Diva
Get in.
follows, and bumps the Hog. Okay,
Zen.
Eating? Sorry.
that's not the call though.
I'm popped ult. Jumping Diana.
Okay, so we used 1 ultimate, 2 ultimates, 3 ultimates. They've now used 2. They can probably clean up the fight with just this. I probably would have tried to save Bongo since before Trance, but I don't recall the exact order of those. Okay, we're just all going to press Q, apparently. So they used Beat, they used Trance. They're now using... They're not using Bomb. They use Primal. And we're going to use, in response, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ultimates. That's absurd. What are we doing? Like, Team 40 should be very happy with this fight. They should be like, okay, you got it, we lose. And then come back in with Visor and maybe Tire if he can build it here.
Nice.
Fuck.
Oh,
That's fine. They used
we grouped it the last
a
second.
bajillion ultimates for this.
It's probably my fault,
That
honestly.
You use all 6 ultimates on this fight. That hurts. Was this that close? I mean, he's still up. Your soldier's still up.
Oh, we used trends there too.
Okay,
Man.
fucking kung fu
Yeah,
kick.
I'm gonna.
No, this fight wasn't close at all.
Alright.
You need a whole hog for that.
Yeah, we probably need more healing.
Okay.
no, that was a solid push with that much healing.
Should we have
Well,
maybe?
I'm gonna
Both
go.
ults.
I'm gonna
Should
go
we have
Ryan here.
maybe switched? Should I switch to Zenyatta? I've just used.
See, this, like, you didn't track that they used all 6 ultimates. So Team 40 is like, oh shit, that was a bad push. Oh, we need to change something up. No, you got your exact win condition. You ate all of their ultimates, and you have an offensive ultimate to just shit on them. Maybe 2. Like,
Ult, so
you're good.
I think our guy is Lucio.
okay. Alright.
You'll win this.
I think speed boost not bad.
Let's try pushing right, maybe.
Right, the issue with pushing right is that they have a decent amount of spam. If you're talking about like coming by this mega and then hooking here, you're going to be caught here against a spam comp. Not the greatest. What you can do is all go high ground here, and then use the Lucio boost to cross this gap onto this like platform here, and then take the high ground away from them and leave like the Orisa, the Hog just on the ground useless. It's
Up to
probably
you.
what I would recommend.
I don't think so. I think it's
No?
too narrow
Okay.
with the Junkrat.
Okay.
Yeah,
go
I
left,
agree with
though.
that.
Let's go.
You can also go left high ground to take it from them and then drop down behind them.
and top left.
Okay, I'm gonna.
You'll
I'm
need
gonna amp
Matrix the
choke.
entire way. Notice how we're kind of split. He's already trying to protect, and this team is way back here.
Go. Now.
Go. Keep going
Go.
left. Stair.
Soldier's late.
top.
Soldier
Junkrat
could get
is
hooked.
left.
Yep. He has not reacted well to this and needs to leave.
He's low. Alright.
Road Dog's following us up.
Bagel is now like way behind, which is, I guess is fine.
He went mid.
This overcommits. Awkward.
Getting high ground behind point.
So Rob is flanking right now. Rob is off on his own little adventure.
No one's up here with them? I mean, no one's up here high ground?
There's five of us.
No one's up here high ground.
Moira's down low.
This sort of narrow opening is also rough against Junkrat, but what are you gonna do at this point?
Alright.
Nice, I'm asleep, care. Going on a point.
Take this slow, take this slow. You're up a DPS. If she puts down another shield, I'd say break it and then visor. Okay, one thing you really want to do as soldier, if you gotta get in the habit. Let me make sure you had this on
First
cooldown.
down low.
Trigram behind point.
No one's up here with them? I mean, no one's up here high ground?
There's five of us. Moira's down low. Alright.
Nice, I'm asleep, care.
Oh, there's your healing station. Okay, you can go healing station and then visor immediately to cancel the drop animation for your healing station, so it comes out immediately, and your visor comes out as well.
Going on a point.
Should be looking to do. So I like this visor. I think you might have been able to wait a little bit longer in the fight to make sure that this shield doesn't come down and prevent you from killing this. But Orisa's kind of split. Hog is kind of split. Both of them can be killed. The Zenyatta is also not too bad of a focus. I don't know, you can just pick one so long as if you're not running a Discord. Shit. So long as the soldier and the diva go on the same target, it should be fine. We get pulled down, the shield comes down, and we lose the high ground.
Sure. He's low.
He's going to be taking a shit
Hog's
ton
low,
of
bring him
damage.
down.
Push him.
Group up for heals.
Looks like we lost focus on the hog. The Zenyatta is still being awkwardly positioned. Diva needs to get on this
Drop.
soldier.
Center.
What is the Zen doing? You just went melee range to the fucking Reinhardt. Oh, and now he's in front of 5 people who are aware of his
I'm point,
presence.
Zen.
Zen's one.
Ah,
Good.
Junkrat
Nice.
got me.
Watch out.
Alright, so this Ana is starting to do similar things. And like her positioning is going to reveal itself to the enemy team. But I think the fight's far enough progressed at this point
Watch out,
He's up
Hog.
where
top
she's
behind you
relatively
guys.
safe. Like now her team controls this. These tanks have stalled out long enough on point.
Junkrat's on the top again.
Fuck. I'm down.
Main.
Oh, I got beat as I died too. That's rough.
Shit, I got anti-healed.
Laura's gonna trickle.
Yeah, the anti-heal's been doing work. Alright.
So they went from 0 ultimates to building almost all of them back.
We have beat again.
I'm tired.
Since you know you invested an ult in that fight, you should know that you're likely behind in
Halfway
ults
on mine.
as the attackers. Take this fight dry.
How was I getting all the way over here?
He's low.
Oh, fuck.
He stopped. Uh-oh, I didn't want to be in here.
Alright,
I didn't
same
wanna be
push.
in-
Let's, amp... Everyone here?
Yeah, I'm just gonna tire though. At the start
Okay.
instead.
Alright, amping, let's go. Everyone amping grape.
Alright, so like, if he's tiring, you should really be amping to engage rather than make that rotation. Because as you make the rotation, you're actually trying not to take pressure. You're trying to avoid a fight altogether. So the tired can be focused, can be played against properly, and you're not using the confusion of the tire and potential for its pick to really do
Bottom
anything
left,
just
bottom
yet.
left. Go in when tired
Is that theirs or
I
ours?
got tire, I got tire, I
Go,
got
go,
tire.
Point.
Go in immediately. Yep.
76 up top.
So the soldier's still here. This is the diva's job. From here, the Ryan can take space and get as close as possible to here. If the rest of them can jump this, the Orisa can die real fast. Junkrat needs to make sure he gets in the
Low
fight.
point, Rob. Nice.
Right, so we didn't take space immediately, but we did get on the soldier.
Is low and kind of.
What happened that she's on low ground? I don't mind this bongo. I think the bongo is a good one. I think we can bongo visor here. Notice how spread out Team 40 is right now. You're not actually being distracted here, soldier. So if we go bongo visor, with the diva on the low ground, she has a couple seconds before she can jump us. We can just fucking visor 1, 2, 3, and this Junkrat 4 and just win us the fight. That's the sort of thing you can communicate. Like, next fight, let's do this to stop them. Right? Or, I guess Hog is also ulting.
Out of position. Oh, this Hog's
Probably
here.
don't need very many ults. Yeah. They drop a beat, but Bagel has died in the meantime. So this beat drop is gonna not win them the fight.
Yeah.
Hog's low. Hog's low.
We have Nano Visor as well. Here we go, ulting. Just everyone just press ult. We've used 5 ults in this fight when we could have used 3.
Down.
Zen,
Transfer
Zen,
me.
Zen.
Transfer me.
Oh, they have Nano Visor up
I
top.
know you want to. Okay, good thing we die with trance.
Nanovisor, Bongo,
Shit, you
Hoggle.
got me.
Fire.
Push a lot. They burned a lot there. So what did they?
We
We
burned
don't have
deep.
anything either though, so it doesn't really matter.
Did they use tire?
They used tire. I killed tire with
That's
my
like
tire, and I also
everything.
killed junk.
Okay.
Alright, so here's another window of opportunity because we've overused ults as a defending team. Like, the attacking team isn't getting clean fights. But we're having an overreaction to it. Definitely. When the Junkrat dies to the enemy Junkrat tire, it should just be stall on point, he'll be back soon, and when he's back we'll just, I don't know, Bongo Whole Hog or Nano Visor, only one of them, and we'll trance if necessary. Like, you're fine here. But now you've created a situation where they're coming in with 1, 2 ultimates, both of which can be very fight-changing if they're applied correctly. And they might even build another tire here if the fight goes long enough.
That's like everything from them.
Yeah, but we don't have anything either.
And we only have 44
You have 2 ults.
seconds.
I've
Yeah.
almost got visor.
Okay,
but
so we almost have 2. Everyone back?
Careful.
That top push seems to really be working for us, though. You want to just do it again?
Yeah, we just gotta be.
Is
quick.
it working for you? You've gotten no percent.
All right, everyone here?
Let me get to
Like-
it.
Okay, Bagel coming around. All right, and bang now. Go.
See, Grapes in front of the shield.
Really be working for us, though. You want to just do it again?
So
Yeah, we just gotta be quick.
All right,
watch people peek this hog.
everyone here?
Yep.
Let me get to it.
Grape starts it.
Okay, Bagel coming around. All right, and
People are
bang
in the hog hook.
now. Go, get through.
They're eating so much spam
Go
through
top
the
left
choke.
again.
Everyone here? Come on.
Gotta go quick. We only got 20 seconds.
Alright, so now I guess we're looking for your soldier to be set up here. If you're not taking this full flank. I'd probably leave the Junkrat here and let the soldier go this way so you create somewhat of a crossfire. Or everyone can go, I don't think it really matters.
All the way around. All the way.
14 on the point.
Dip in.
We finally see the Zenyatta on the
Three.
high ground.
Junkrat.
This shield doesn't do anything. Like, Orisa can be fucked because of this shield. So now there's nowhere really for you to stand on point because this shield's bad. We see the team goes in before the Reinhardt. Like, everyone's up over here, which doesn't seem to matter too much except for the Moira eating spam. Zenyatta is going to be forced to trance here. He doesn't trance here. Okay. That's actually not too bad. The fight actually hasn't evolved to on point. Dying with trance means that if they stall out on point long enough, then this trance is going to win them the fight. So I don't absolutely hate it. I probably would have popped just because it's last fight and be like, team, they're going to visor afterwards. And maybe you could have played around that with line of sight, but see how things go. So there's the visor now that the trance is gone. We have high ground positioning. What I don't like, though, is that they're only being pressured really by trance so far. Ryan's not actually shielding anyone, I think. Oh, he's shielding this guy. This guy's fine. Ryan needs to actually get his ass on point.
DV your anti. Be careful.
So now Ryan's kind of put himself in the position where he wants to walk forward on this, but the Junkrat's behind him. Awkward positioning. These tanks aren't... Reinhardt hasn't done anything this fight.
Junkrat left side.
We've grouped up. This guy is a perfect target. Kill him. The Visor also didn't get anything because of this shield.
Junkrat left side. Watch him. Watch
They're
it.
all
Visor was preemptive.
over there on the other side. On
Ends up being preemptive. This is great positioning though by the soldier. Unfortunately, I don't see where the Ana is. But this Junkrat just kind of like walks up this way and just blows up one of your DPS. Because we're still fighting the tanks. Like, how does this guy go from so this Orisa? How does this Orisa go from here under fire to here at half health without being killed? Let's watch this again. There she is. She fortifies.
Give your anti.
Wall.
Be careful.
Junkrat left side, Junkrat
She
left
gets jumped while being healed.
side, watch him.
Gets to half. And then we just like... She like leaves the view of the diva, who then decides to go on the hog, which is her natural counter, and she just gets
They're all over there on the other side.
she gets completely ignored from here on out.
Shit.
What
They
is
got
this?
me and Joker.
Alright, she finally dies because the soldier decides to take pity on her and put her out of her misery. We still have... this fight's likely done. The only saving grace is maybe hammer down, but they're playing so spread on point, you're only going to hammer one, maybe two.
One. Ah, they're getting healed.
Alright, so we solo hammer hog. That's a bit rough.
Fuck.
You're not going to kill anyone during that trance.
Alright,
Okay.
this guy Roger Federer seems to be doing more work.
I agree.
That's 2 CP, lol.
No, it's just poor
Well,
old
let's,
management and focus.
Do the same thing? A little bit? Did we get any percent there?
No.
Danger.
Okay,
You can just
You could suppose.
throw a bolt.
Alright, so let's see what they have set up here. Okay. Do. So defense is running basically anti-dive, but they're running the Widow instead of the McCree, and they're not running a Junkrat. Same sort of concept almost applies, although their damage is lower, their poke is a little higher. They don't have spam, like the Junkrat would provide. But they have good sightlines, generally. And I like the selection of these two supports. These two supports have excellent sightlines on a lot of 2 CP maps. Have high healing and have a defensive ult, so I really like this. I'm not so sure if I'd run both Soldier and Widow, since they both kind of have problems with the same sort of thing. I'd probably pick one and just Junkrat the other, but this just seems fine. As for the attackers, we have what looks to be the start of Pharaoh Mercy dive, and then we have Hanzo. I think if you're going to modify dive, you can do it with one or the other. I don't think both is necessarily the greatest option, because right now, like, you're looking for either a pick or a direct rocket and then trigger a dive from these two, but I'm worried that the dive from these two doesn't have enough damage behind it to get through a like conscious defense effort to follow up before they're re-healed. So I'm a little bit worried about this. I think this will match up fine enough. Like, I think the Hanzo is fine enough against this comp. In fact, I think Hanzo against this comp is generally good. I have misgivings about the Pharah against double hit scan, one of which is a Widowmaker. But you don't know that yet.
Yeah, they have pharmacy.
Hanzo and window.
Discord far.
Alright, so Grapes in the opposition here. They're taking the space this way. Seems fine. You could also have posted Soldier up on this high ground. Create a little bit of a crossfire coming in with the Junkrat here. Without a Junkrat here,
right.
it's more difficult for sure.
Grapes, you still have.
Yep, you get picked.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck. Diva behind. They all.
This is just already collapsed. So the tanks have stayed here despite the fact that both of their tanks just came in and just rushed the point this way. And the two long-range projectile champions have gotten picks
Rotated around.
in the opening seconds of this. Why do we drop? This Ana should not have dropped. Ana stays high. Or stays in the back here.
What? Hanzo buff, Hanzo buff.
But now you're in no man's land as Ana. So is Soldier. How did Soldier get here? Hold on. What is this Soldier doing?
Oh, fuck.
Fuck. Deep behind. They all
So
rotated around.
fuck, this fight's basically done. Right? Soldier has a nice retreat path right now. As his tanks approach, he can go back this way and grab the Mega. And then join Ana on high ground, and maybe these guys can stall out. They can't, realistically. Realistically, this fight's over. But like, that's maybe a course of action if you can come up with some hero play.
Point.
Instead, we drop station, which is fine.
Get the Winston.
Drop down, which is fine. Not playing behind your tanks, not so great. And then we just kind of run in melee range of their tanks as the main DPS remaining. With what I assume is also the Pharah focus. Just jump our tanks to hit a full HP Winston at the time.
What? Hanzo buff. Hanzo.
And then we kill
buff, get that
ourselves.
Hanzo.
Okay. Hanzo's coming in for the sick flank now that there's no danger for him. Seems fine to clean up. It's really
Rip.
poorly executed as a defense.
Alright, is that's gone? Oh, that's...
Giving it one more shot. Fuck it. Just a game wall.
Nah, it's not gonna happen.
Get it? One more shot.
Grab it if you wanna
Shoots
go
bullets.
Diva.
Objective lost.
Dude, I just want to go back.
Of course he does. Okay, I keep thinking this blinking light is Widowmaker trap.
Go against that comp.
What do you do against the comp? Well, you can send a Genji against the Hanzo. You could probably go Soldier Modified Dive against this and be fine. With a Genji instead of a Tracer. So the Genji plays backline harass duty on the Hanzo. You have soldiers in for the pharmacy, and you just counter dive their tanks when they come in. Or you dive their Hanzo, and then return to point. It's probably how I'd play it. Playing like a shield comp against this seems rough, because they're just going to poke you from infinite range until they get value, and then they go in.
So they don't have a Tracer, which is...
So we don't have a
From behind.
Tracer, so we dive in early.
Hanzo.
Holy moly.
Oh,
Shit.
This camera's not working out for me. So that was a really far dive by the Winston. That could have been maybe punished.
I'm on a Diva. Diva low.
Good, we pop back, so something gets punished here. She's killed.
Nice.
This fight is opened where you've traded 2 for 1. If instead of Widow we swap to a stall champion, we can turn this into actually our advantage. Because the D.Va is a huge, huge part of this dive. Without the D.Va, the focus can easily be the Winston. Or we can dive the backline. Like, Zen is still too close to your... Zen is a good target. Pharah is alone-ish. This is the Pharah, correct? Yep. Zen is a prime target, and Winston's a good target here, too.
Nice.
I don't
behind
see
us.
this working out.
I'm on a
yeah,
fair.
it's up.
How does our Anna get here? Maybe she was booped. This dragon doesn't seem like it's going to do anything. The fight should basically be over. Did we ever get that Zen? We didn't. The Zen lives. Okay. I guess we can use ults here then. He ends up here, which is a problem. Kills are still coming in for the attackers. Alright, so we trance here. A little preemptively.
Hanzo's up top.
Person needs to be on point. But the fight's like, it's very difficult to win from here. The only thing you can do is stall for as long as possible using your movement abilities. Use your last movement ability to leave. Wait for someone else to start stalling while you get healed, and then you can slowly build up the number of people on.
Fuck.
So we gotta pick, that's fine. We gotta trade it though, which is not fine. Mercy can die.
Mercy can. No.
Mercy can die. Good, good, good. They still have this guy on high ground, which is kind of fucking you. If with Winston contesting the point, he doesn't have to be here. He should really be here.
Nice.
And no one protected
Zen next.
soldier.
Zen.
Okay, this can turn.
Nice, nice. Diva.
Still, like, he's still there. Everyone gets off the point, we see 9.
Ah.
I hate that.
This is kind of why, for when we run scrims, instead of running against the other team's best, we'll just reset the map so the defending team in this instance gets the chance to practice defending the entire point instead of just the first third. The attacking team gets a chance to attack the entire point instead of just capping third. Because your strategy changes, right? If you're in it for the long term, you're going to do things differently than if you only get a third here. So
That shit.
Maybe we should have reset it. Whatever.
Maybe.
No, we probably should have sacrificed someone to Diva Bomb.
Play of the game.
is this we've already used a shit ton of ults.
This guy fucked us, honestly. Oh my god.
Well, it.
He's
Damage
free reign
boosted
up here.
nano.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Damage boosted nano visor.
It's
Jesus
like 5
Christ.
shots and kills everyone. So there is a problem here where, like,